Welcome to the UN Global Compact Academy. I'm Sue Allchurch, Chief of Outreach and Engagement of the United Nations Global Compact. I'm excited to welcome you back to our Academy Changemaker series from Singapore. With this series, we want to help you learn directly from some of the most innovative and influential people around the world. Now more than ever, the private sector plays a pivotal role in shaping the world's sustainability agenda and in accelerating corporate investments towards the Sustainable Development Goals and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Meeting this ambitious agenda requires substantial levels of financing. Our guest today is a leading pioneer in the sustainability space. She is the Chief Financial Officer of City Developments Limited, which is a Singaporean multinational real estate operating organisation that has just recently been ranked as the world's most sustainable real estate management and development company and 28th on the 2023 Global 100 most sustainable corporations in the world. I'm delighted to welcome Yiong Yim Ming. Thank you very much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
To start out, Yim Ming, we would like to know a little bit about you, yourself, and how your personal journey took out.
Okay, I'm Yim Ming. I'm the CFO for CDL. Really, I've always said that I'm a convert in this journey. So for CDL, I mean, we have been, we have started on the CSR journey more than 2 decades ago. But really for us, and every one of us at CDL, it's really an immerse. You get immersed into the culture. And one interesting point of fact, I always say, whenever we do internal engagement surveys, CDL is known for number 1, CSR, number 2, product quality. So that really builds up the fact that we have inbuilt in our ethos to conserve as we construct, and that's something that I'm proud of to be a member of the company.
And where did your original motivation to drive this agenda come from?
Really, the original motivation really comes from twofold. I think now because the planet we live in, and being in the built sector, we all know we get slammed all the time, right? I mean, we account for 40% of the carbon emissions. Yes, we know that. And of course, being able to take a leadership position, I think that really is a motivation, right? I mean, with great power comes great responsibility. So being in that kind of space, a leader in a real estate sector that contributes substantially to this agenda, don't see how we don't have this motivation to want to bring this down further and to create a better planet for all.
Oh, great. Did you remember, was there a particular moment or time when this challenge really came real to you and you thought driving the sustainability agenda would be important?
To be very frank, there isn't a particular moment. In fact, I would say that it was quite a chore previously, very frankly, right? I mean, the whole journey of us, from a finance perspective, we've got so much additional verifications, the ISR has got so much data in there, and to be able to plow through all that, looking at, numbers. So I would say the turning point would really much be a journey where you realize that, hey, you can't live without it, right? You have to face it, and it's part of your everyday going to be. It's gone mainstream, from where we started, we were visionary, and it's gone mainstream. And if from a finance perspective, you still don't catch up with it, and when exactly are you going to be the real leader? So I think it's important, really, I wouldn't say a specific moment, but rather the fact that, the entire journey has kind of immersed me. And I still like to call myself a convert, right? From kind of resenting it to a little bit to kind of, thinking that, this is important. Whether is it for the company's agenda, for sustained profitability, or even from the planet perspective. I mean, it's something the company can do and what everyone should do.
So then you became a convert, as you say. What are the main challenges that you have found in financing this transformation?
In financing, I think, really, when we started, we were the first company to issue a green bond in 2017. So really, at that point in time, it was inertia. I mean, you were afraid because there was just so much that you're not 100% sure how to proceed. And, I always take the analogy, right? It's like an engineer taking a finance exam. It looks like, oh, wow, I'm very smart, I aced all my exams, but you have a book of encyclopedia that seems Greek to you. And slowly and surely, as you plow through the materials, you'll be able to get through that. And that's exactly where we were as well.
Oh, that's so good to hear about your personal challenge and how you went about going on this journey. Now to step back and think about the business challenges and everything that you've tackled and the world that we're in today. We are halfway towards delivering Agenda 2030. And it's a real stock take at the moment, and it's indeed very sobering. The world's facing a once-in-a-generation crisis, and we are no longer making the required progress to deliver the Sustainable Development Goals. The UN estimates that the world will need between 3 and 5 trillion annually to meet the SDGs by 2030, and the ongoing COVID pandemic has increased that estimate by another 2 trillion. And against this backdrop, there is growing recognition among investors and governments that there is an enormous opportunity for the private sector to play a critical role in the transition to a sustainable and a climate-safe future. Could you give us, in your view, what's your understanding of the role of corporations in financing this expensive transition?
Jump on the bandwagon and really run along with it. Yeah, really. So I think for corporations, you know, for it to play a part in the financing, it has got to step up, and step out. You know, we've got to engage different stakeholders. It's a little bit like you've got to help yourself, and your stakeholders includes various, right? I mean, whether is it UNGCS authorities, your government agencies, or even your lenders. So I think every one of us have got, you know, in terms of financing for sustainability, you've got to kind of step up your game to know what we exactly really need. And you know, this journey is definitely not a one-man show. So I think, you know, for the role of corporations is to really put it at the top of your agenda, and with that, drive how your process and how you want to meet it. Right. So let's say for financing for sustainability, people always wonder, oh, do we have, is it, going back, you know, is it a cost issue? You know, if it's a cost issue, then go find financing for that, you know. And obviously the entire, you know, lullaby will really be perfect when you have green financing to finance your green initiatives. And that exactly is where we are trying to do that. So of course, I think, you know, for the role of corporations for financing, I think we have to work harder, engage more stakeholders, and rather than make it being an endpoint like a do as you have to, put it at the top of your agenda. So I think, you know, in terms of materiality concerns, I always try to put sustainable finance as the top of the agenda. That kind of drives where we are, leaves KPI for all corporations to have a KPI to green X amount of loans, you know, progressively according to the industry, and, you know, use that as a source of financing to make the entire story gel better.
Oh, that's interesting. And you, one of the first CFOs to join the UN Global Compact CFO Coalition. So we'd love to hear from you how you think that the CFO is so critical, and the role that the CFO in particular plays in driving this transformation to a sustainable future.
I always think CFO is an interesting place, right? I mean, it's kind of, it's an epicenter of businesses. Anything that has a number goes to a CFO. Because so resultantly, it runs through an entire organization. So with that, I think because he has a holistic view of the business and the strategy, it's actually in the best place to run and carry out this agenda.
And how do you manage this whole investment market? Has things shifted over time for your business to take opportunities in this new investment market?
For sure. So really, I mean, in terms of, let's say, product market first, right? In terms of product market, we've always set aside a certain amount of construction costs, you know, for built developments, for green innovations. That includes whether is it a biophilic design, shoots that's really friendly, a green background, of course, energy efficient devices. So that's really always important to us as well. So I think from the budget will come in first. You know, we really set aside and say that, oh, this is a dedication that we have, and with that brings in the other SDG goals, right? I mean, we look at, I mean, for myself and my team, I think we look a lot at innovation. We hope that in this journey, as we dedicate and commit this amount, we're able to bring in innovations that will be investment returns that will bring about better returns for our future developments. And that's where I think the real payback is.
And when you think of the challenges that you faced along this journey, are there major challenges, ways that you've overcome them, and in particular, what our audience could learn from?
I think really the challenge is really, if you ask me, is plowing through the sand. It's really plowing through the sand. I'll give you an example. So while green loans is already so mainstream today, in 2019, we did the SDG innovation loan because we wanted to integrate the SDG goals together with the loans, right? So what we did was, okay, so we worked with a lender in Singapore to say that, okay, if there is an innovation that we are able to come up with that will benefit the entire organization, and then with that brings about savings in the interest costs. So that really meets, to me, that was a perfect model, right? It's trying to bring to the table to say that, hey, you know, innovation and being sustainable can bring about real dollar savings. And of course, it was easy. So you set the loan and then you get it going, right? And then after that, that has a 3-year time frame. And we have to plow through the entire organizations, right, to look at what is going to be applicable. So it was really interesting. I mean, we went to projects department, we look at products, we look at materials, we look at IT tech, and finally we found we found internally they devised this prop tech solution, which uses AI and predictive capabilities to look at, you know, how often you need to service your buildings, you know, and basically relies a lot on AI, and that kind of drives energy efficiency over time. So something like that was definitely not easy, because when you get started, you just start on a blank piece of paper, and you know, from a finance perspective especially, people are very much numbers driven. You know, I don't know what the clear pathway is, where exactly is a clear pathway. And you know, I think what you really need to do, you want to be innovative, you have to think out of the box. You have to really go through different stakeholders across your various organizations and try to really think out of the box. I think that's very important.
Yeah, so it's, as you said at the beginning, you really have to step up and go for it and innovate and drive and move forward. And then another thing we'd love to hear about and for others to learn about is this question of you can't do this by yourself. Have you had some major partners that have helped you internally and externally take this journey?
For myself, I think the lenders today are big advocates of green financing. I mean, really. I mean, for this journey, you require many, many partners in crime. I would say my team and the lenders are really my big partners in crime. But from a company perspective, because we are a real estate developer, I think this journey goes across even a bigger, wider ecosystem. It goes through from your architect, how you design your building, from your contractor, you must meet certain standards to be able to do PPVC, for example, from your materials, going down to sourcing of materials, how green it needs to be, to your lenders to get a green financing. So I think your stakeholders, I mean, or your partners, I would say, is an entire stream. And I think it's important, which is exactly what we are advocating. Even for this building, for example, where we are a commercial landlord, we also want to ensure that they're all green leases. So honestly, my team also went around tenant by tenant, you know, to bring them on board. You know, happy to say that we are all 100% on green lease right now. So all these are stakeholders that has to integrate it into your business. And I think, you know, people think to narrow it to just supply chain. You know, if you think that you have solved your supply chain and that's sufficient. I think, you know, you can go further to your customer base as well. And of course, when you go to your customer base, I mean, from a finance perspective, it's always how do you fund this? And you always have this angle to your lenders as well as to your regulatory authorities and your investors.
Wow, so it's an amazing journey. And when you look forward from where we are today, do you think we're on the right direction in terms of driving sustainable finance for the world to help meet these goals?
For sure, I would think that we're probably a little bit slow, especially in this part of the world. So I think, you know, I mean, I feel that at least for Asia, I think we could have taken pace faster in the last 5 years. It's definitely taking shape, you know, and clearly it's very, very mainstream. I think we are on the right journey. I just feel that it could have been expedited further. Especially, you know, I mean, we always target at the MNCs, you know, who have an established, you know, robust reporting system. Right? I mean, I have a good team supporting us in coming with all your reporting. I think in the other angle that we always want to look at was, you know, why wasn't it as fast as other parts of the world? Because I think in Asia, there's probably more SMEs. And I think the SMEs is a little bit more out of reach or more inundated by the entire framework.
It's complicated.
So I think that's one part that, you know, I feel that we could have done better, especially in the SMEs portion. I think the big boys definitely all on board, especially MNCs that trades in different parts of the world. I mean, they are already on board. It's so mainstream. Doing a green loan today is so easy, really. I think the only question is how innovative you want to be. A traditional green loan, green bond, honestly, easy, really easy. But to us, while it's easy, for the SMEs, they are not.
That's something different,
And I think we need to be mindful that, you know, they are a big part of the economy, especially in Asia. And that's a market that we shouldn't neglect.
Yeah, that makes sense. And at the CFO Coalition, there's often a conversation about how we're really going to make a difference when we do it across a whole industry. And do you have thoughts about how you can encourage more of your peers to be driving this forward, this agenda with you?
In Singapore, I think the real estate players are very on board. Very, very on board. While I probably am the only one on the CFO Coalition, there are other bodies that I know my various counterparts are actually very active in. Yeah.
Great.
So I think the real estate sector is quite ahead of time. Yeah. So I think, really what I would like to hope is to bring it down to the second sector, which is like the main contract, the contractors, the build, right? I mean, the developers and the build, are two different things. I think we can bring that further and, encourage the peers of the build sector further to really, start on this journey.
In order to create a future that works for everyone, it's important that leaders take inspiration from across industries and generations. In all our Changemaker sessions, we like to end with a lightning round on future leadership. For each question, just give us the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
What other leader, past or present, do you take inspiration from?
The late Mr. Lee Kuan Yew.
And why is that?
I do like his pragmatic leadership style, and I think really if he was here to drive this journey, I'm sure we'll have gotten further and faster to our destination.
Right, that's interesting. As a leader and in a male-dominated world, what piece of advice would you give young female leaders as they go forward, because their voice is often not heard?
I would say forget the gender, leverage on capabilities. Yeah. So I don't feel that equality and inequality is two different issues. That's my personal view. Inequality cannot be tolerated, but for equality, I think for women, young leaders, don't be afraid. Speak up, leverage on your capabilities. The lenses that they carry is different, and because it's different, it's unique, and that's why it brings value. So you should just forget the gender, speak your mind.
Yeah, just be yourself and get on with your things. Great. Now, down to quick basics. What are the 3 most important characteristics that leaders need to do today to create the world that we want?
You ask any finance person, the first one has got to be integrity. That is fundamental, right? I think today's world, always changing. I would think the second would be adaptability, to be able to adapt to different environments. And the third, I would think, would be lifelong learning, because things are just changing all the time. You just never stop learning, and I think that's important.
Yeah, and it's great to be able to learn forever as well. Thank you, Yim Ming, very much for your personal perspective and really practical insight that you've shared with us. And thank you to all the participants who've joined us today. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. It's been a real pleasure.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you.
And you've given us some real insights about forget the gender, just get on and build on your capabilities. And I loved your opening remarks about just step up and step in and make this happen. You've made it look incredibly easy, but I'm sure we're learning a lot from you. So thank you very much. That's it for this Changemaker session. We look forward to seeing you again soon to learn and be inspired by other changemakers working in or with business to make the world a better place.